Welcome to This Week in the News. This is Sheila Callaham with Age Equity Alliance. Today, the EEOC sued Smithfield Foods for age discrimination. Smithfield Foods, which operates a food processing business specializing in pork production, violated the federal law when they fired a senior sales employee because of her age. According to the lawsuit, the employee worked for Smithfield Foods for over 10 years before she was fired at the age of 59. Smithfield Foods claims it terminated the employee as part of a reduction in force of its sales staff. As part of that reduction, 5 of 6 terminated employees were 55 years or older, while 14 of the 18 employees being considered for termination were spared, and all were under 55. Such alleged conduct violates the Age Discrimination in Employment Act, which prohibits age discrimination against individuals 40 and older. In recent months, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, or EEOC, has settled several large age discrimination complaints totaling millions of dollars in fines, fees, penalties, and payments to those affected. In fact, the EEOC announced that age discrimination is one of the priorities identified in its new strategic enforcement plan. Last December, San Diego-based Scripps Clinic Medical Group agreed to pay almost $7 million to settle claims that it subjected physicians to age and disability discrimination when they imposed a mandatory retirement of age 75. Just 2 months before that, Lilly, a pharmaceutical corporation based in Indianapolis, Indiana, was ordered to pay $2.4 million and provide other equitable relief to settle a nationwide class age discrimination lawsuit brought on by the EEOC. The EEOC alleged that the company failed to hire older pharmaceutical sales representatives. Last week and this week in the news, I talked about 2 important pieces of legislation that will improve protections for employees against age discrimination. Another reason why this legislation is so important is because it will hold employers accountable for creating the change we need to see. Otherwise, if they don't do right, they risk litigation, and most companies want to avoid litigation. If you're an employee and you suspect age discrimination, Meyer Nassar, a New York employment attorney, has some advice for you.
Speak out against the unlawful treatment that you're going through. When you experience unlawful discrimination, unlawful harassment, retaliation for raising complaints about safety issues or objecting to some form of illegal activity, you're engaging in a protected activity, which is that you are legally protected against retaliation. But now the reason why I advocate for paper trails by developing paper trails, making you complain about the unlawful treatment in a paper trail via email, specifying the unlawful treatment clearly, showing what you're objecting to clearly, and retaining a copy of it is so that you have proof. Because the law protects you, but when the law needs to be utilized, it asks for evidence. So if you have the evidence in the form of a paper trail, you're more likely to succeed in holding that employer accountable and actually avoiding most lawsuits because your employer will know that you have what it takes to win.
In the show notes, I've included the EEOC charge letter as well as a Forbes article where Meyer and California employment attorney Ryan Steigar tell you exactly what you need to do to protect yourself from workplace ageism. You can follow Meyer on TikTok at Discrimination Lawyer, and you can follow Ryan on TikTok at Attorney Ryan. Both of these attorneys were on a legal panel at last year's Age Equity Fall Forum, emphasizing the importance of workers understanding their rights. It's not like someone's going to come up and say to you, hey, you're 68 and I don't like you because you're old, therefore I shall fire you. But you might see casual assumptions being made about you in the workplace, and it might look something like assuming that you're not interested in going to happy hour with younger employees, or assuming you're not interested in the webinar because you don't understand, I don't know, some technology, or assuming you don't want to learn about AI, so they don't invite you to the training, or assuming that you don't want to go on the company treat that's a golf course and there's a lot of walking. It's assumptions like that. If you're experiencing ageism, the legal advice is you need to say it. That means sending an email to HR detailing the type of experience you're going through, mention your age as a main factor, and if you believe you're being treated differently than younger employees, you need to say it. If HR requests a face-to-face discussion, follow up with an email summarizing everything that was said. At that point, the employer knows that you've engaged a protected activity, and they have to be very careful how they deal with you. Retaliation's against the law. So once they're put on notice, which means that you've told them that you feel that you're being discriminated against because of your age, because of, and then you list the reasons, that means you've put them on notice. And once that happens, they're required to investigate and potentially make things better for you. If the discriminatory behavior does not change after documenting and filing a complaint, then it's time for the next step. That's when you would contact a labor attorney or file an ADEA complaint through the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. If you're seeking employment and you feel that age discrimination has prevented access to an opportunity, write letters to your state and federal legislators and file an EEOC complaint. You have up to 180 days to file a complaint unless you're a federal employee, and then you only have 45 days. You have to be your best advocate, and paper trails are the way to do it. When any form of discrimination goes unreported, it increases the likelihood of it occurring again. Action is not only what it will take to help older workers currently impacted by age discrimination, but it also helps to create age equity in the workplace so that younger employees will be protected from social exclusion or other discriminatory behaviors in the future. Going back to last year's Fall Forum, this October we will be hosting our third annual Age Equity Fall Forum, and we've always had global participation, but this year we're going truly global with a 3-day event planned in 3 different geographies: the Americas on the 15th, Europe on the 16th, and Australia, Hong Kong, and Singapore on the 17th. I'm super excited by the caliber of presenters that we have lined up, and I can't wait to tell you. We'll have the details confirmed by the end of the month. So until then, I'll just have to keep it a secret. Sponsorship packets will be going out soon, and we're anticipating very strong support. Registration for the October event will open in early August. So until then, hold the dates for October 15 through 17. If you're not already on our mailing list, please go to ageequityalliance.org, sign up for our mailing list, our newsletter, and you'll be notified when we've opened registration. This event continues our commitment to educate leaders on the latest academic and practical advice for creating a workplace for all ages. To close, I have to tell you about a pitch I received today. Because I'm a longtime contributor to Forbes, I get a lot of pitches, but only a few are actually relevant to my swim lane, which is age and aging at work. But sometimes they're on a completely different topic altogether, and sometimes, like today, they've got the topic right, but it's a pitch that actually perpetuates ageism in some way rather than addressing it head on. Here's a snippet of the pitch I got today. In time for Mental Health Awareness Month, observed in May, I bring you an advice piece, idea on how to cope with stress caused by aging. I didn't realize that waking up day after day after day after day actually caused stress. That might sound like a perfectly normal suggestion, how to cope with stress caused by aging. But let me ask you this. Is it really aging that causes stress, or is it the fact that we live in an ageist culture that dismisses people once they've reached a certain age? Waking up a day older is cause for celebration every single day that we experience it. The stress of aging is not about aging at all, but being denied job opportunities because of your age and wondering how you will ever be financially secure as you live out what are supposed to be the best years of your life, that's certainly reason for stress. Waking up a day older does not cause stress, but I would argue that going to your doctor for knee pain and being told that you're too old for reparative surgery when you're only in your 50s is extremely stressful. By the way, that happened to me, and I called out my doctor for being ageist right then and there. I told him I expected him to treat my knee pain the same as he would treat the knee pain of a 20-year-old. I got the surgery and was hiking 4 miles through Big Bend National Park just 6 weeks later. The point is, when we hear or make comments related to age, often it's not related to age at all. Rather, it stems from the ageist culture that we live in and the fact that we're subjected to a lifetime of ageist rhetoric. So to change the culture, we have got to eradicate the rhetoric. That's it for this week in the news. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you click in again next week when we'll all be 1 week older. So let's make it a celebration, shall we? This Week in the News is sponsored by Age Equity Alliance, a Texas-based 501c3 working globally with progressive companies to competitively attract, develop, and retain talent across the age spectrum. If your company wants to understand more about how Age Equity Alliance can support your talent sustainability goals, email sheila.callaham@ageequityalliance.org. You can follow Age Equity Alliance on LinkedIn, listen to our podcasts on Spotify, watch hundreds of short videos to inspire team conversations about age and aging at work on our YouTube channel, or visit the website at ageequityalliance.org.